one of the surprises of this young season, the St. Louis Cardinals at 21-12 after a dramatic victory last night over the Colorado Rockies. They are 12-20. The Cardinals will face a left-hander tonight, Mark Redmond, and our forward key matchup is this man, Adam Kennedy, lefty-lefty, something we didn't see a lot of last year.
Well, he's just a different player this season. You can see how well he's swinging the bat in the two-hole ahead of Pujols now, and he is getting his opportunities to play on a daily basis.
Adam Kennedy is hitting .333 this season. He is batting second tonight. Coming up, the Birds visit the Rockies. First pitch, starting lineups. Cardinals baseball from Denver, Colorado on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light. Endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming. By Auto Tire. For the lowest prices in town, 26 locations to serve you. You ought to go to Auto Tire, the tire pros. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Geico Direct, a 15-minute phone call can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Southwest Airlines. With Southwest Airlines, you're now free to be more productive. Visit southwest.com today. What a job Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan have done so far this season. The Cardinals check in with the best record in the Central Division. They are 21-12. 31st season as a manager, over 2,300 wins and just 4 away from 2,400 in his Hall of Fame career. And there's a look at Braden Looper, who gets the start tonight.
All right, he won 4 games in the month of April, looking to kind of continue this good, outstanding pitching by the Cardinals. He has the most wins in the staff, and he hopes he have a lot of competition.
Let's take a look at the competition on a nightly basis with this Cardinal lineup. A different look again for Tony La Russa with a lefty on the mound. This is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, and we highlight Yadier Molina has hit safely in 8 of his last 10 games and a .389 average during that time. It'll be Barton, Kennedy, and Pujols, then Ludwick, Laus, Ankiel, Molina, Looper, and Isturis. Our Rico starter is Mark Redmond. 10 runs allowed in the first inning of his last start, and then after that, scoreless the rest of the way.
Yeah, he went 6 innings. First time a pitcher since 1900 had pitched at least 6 innings, giving up 10 runs in the first inning and no runs, and by the way, only 1 hit in the next 5 shutout innings.
Brian Barton is the right fielder tonight for Tony La Russa. And on the first pitch, he hits it into right center field. Pretty well hit. And a running catch made by Brad Hopp. Takes an extra base hit away from Brian Barton. We saw the outfielders last night, Duncan and even Ankiel, and Hopp obviously had his problems, even Matt Holliday, but the outfielders really struggled with some of the fly balls out there in Coors Field.
Yeah, for whatever reason, good thing that Hopp is a left-handed thrower, so his glove hand is outstretched and hauls it in. That ball didn't even sound like it was hit solidly, and yet it carried quite a ways.
I don't know about you, but I like seeing this. Adam Kennedy facing a lefty, and he has talked about his confidence being up here in this 2008 campaign, and certainly this has to add to it where Tony La Russa plays him against a left-hander.
Well, and he's batting in the second spot where he's been productive of late. But Adam is just a completely different player.
What's interesting, too, about Adam Kennedy, he has more base hits against left-handed pitching already after just a month and a handful of days than he did all of last season just a year ago.
And he's hit at .389 in his last 17 games.
On the season, hitting .333. That pitch just missed. 2 balls and 1 strike, and Albert Pujols is on deck. The Cardinals, a dramatic win last night. It was fun to watch.
It was a fun win. It had its highs and lows in that game. Umpires got involved in way too many decisions.
And Kennedy now 2-2. The umpire last night is a guy that is a local native, and yeah, he had an interesting night behind the plate. Let's just say that. Starts in the 2 spot this season. Ankiel with 11, Duncan with 10, then Kennedy with 4.
Look at the productivity there.
Very good. .318 average combined. That's a hard hit ball. Stabbing at it, Atkins, a low throw, and the pick over there by Todd Helton. This is not known as a great defensive team, especially the infield, but Holliday, Tavares, great speed in center. Brad Hopp is in right. Atkins, Barmas, Quintanilla, and then Helton on the right side of the infield, and Chris Iannetta is behind the plate. There's a look at Clint Hurdle,
You know,
7th season as a manager.
It is early, but Clint Hurdle's defense has been very good this season. They only have 14 errors. Cardinals have committed 15. They're still among the top group of defenders.
Well hit right center field, and this ball will one hop off the wall. And you can go ahead and make it 34 straight for Albert Pujols to reach base here in 2008. A rocket off his bat. Of course, Pujols was the story last night, scoring from second. How about Ray Lankford back in 1991?
They tried to get a double play, and Ray comes home and just destroys Darren Dalton for the game winner. This is a little different. As Albert was running on the slow hit ground, the second baseman did not looking back, and he continues to come right around. He got around third base. He looked to see if the second baseman looked him back, he was going to stay at third. When he did not look him back, he came home for the eventual game winner.
I love that play from Ray Lankford. Never get sick of seeing that. That was his rookie season, 1991, with the Cardinals.
Ray was a good football player coming out of Modesto, California. And you showed some of his running back skills there.
You bet.
Not afraid of contact.
44 steals in his rookie season. Finished up third that year in the Rookie of the Year balloting. And a lot of people that follow the Cardinals now, some of the young fans, remember the trade to pick up Woody Williams, but they forget back in the early 90s, Ray Lankford was a heck of a player.
Forget about how productive he was for many years, and finds himself in, as the leading home run hitter in Busch Stadium 2. And he was up amongst the, in a lot of offensive categories, he was in around the top 10.
Last night, just a terrific play from Albert Pujols, and you could put a truck over there to try to stop him from going around third, and he'll probably run through that too. Jose Oquendo put up the stop sign, but it didn't matter, and Pujols, like you said, looked back at the play, hesitated just a bit, but saw that he had that little opening and made the most of it.
Well, that's instincts, and you can't teach instincts. Now, for most people, Oquendo, is going to stop him there. But Albert knew that he was running, he's stealing the base. And the reason he hesitated to see if the second baseman were looking back. If he looks him back, he's got to go back to third. When he did not look him back through to first, he came home.
I wonder how frustrated Jose Oquendo gets when Pujols runs through his sign to stop. But more times than not, like you said, his instincts are correct, and he scores or makes the right play.
Well, and it's so difficult for Jose because, remember, many times during Albert's career, he's had leg issues. He's had all kinds of things. So he's going to be crucified if he gets him thrown out and hurt.
That's a good point.
He's got to weigh all those considerations.
3-1 pitch is lined into left. Here comes Pujols. He's being waved in. Throw from left field. Not in time. And Ludwick delivers with a 2-out base hit. And it's 1-0 Cardinals. And Albert is limping a little bit. Remember, he had that sore back, but I know that you talked to him before the game, and he was stretching his back as he dove back into second base last night on a pickoff play. It was late in the game, and he told you he felt fine.
Yeah, here he's going to be waved home. And Albert chugging along right there. Yeah, he's always going to tell you he's fine, but he was getting extra attention and stretching by the trainers.
Well, I was at the ballpark and inside the clubhouse very early this afternoon, and he was getting extra treatment in the training room on that back. But good to see him in the lineup. And it's a double and a single, and now Troy Gloss. First pitch is a strike. The Cardinals here in these first innings have just dominated the opponent. They have only allowed 3 first inning runs, and yet they have scored a bunch.
And one of those was last night. They've scored 20 to the 3 that they have given up. And that's been a bugaboo for the Colorado Rockies, falling behind early, and a lot of it in the first inning.
Well, tell me about Mark Redmond, because he's probably thinking back, okay, first inning last time out, I gave up 10 runs, and now here we go again.
Yeah, and he's eventually he got things worked out. He has a changeup, and a lot of times what happened, what Hal McRae said, is he couldn't get his cutter in on the right-handed batter, so he's leaving it up over the middle of the plate, hung a couple breaking balls. But they feel that he's going to make mistakes out over the plate. I asked Hal, though, I said, did you see the game on video of when he gave up 10 runs? He goes, yeah. And I said, well, what did he do after that? He goes, what are you talking about? And I said, well, he pitched 5 shutout innings after that. What kind of corrections he made? He goes, well, I turned it off. Figured the game was over.
It was long enough, that first inning. How about Troy Glaus, Al? I mean, here we have a guy with the fewest home runs in his first 32 games to start his career, but a little side note to that, it's the most doubles he's ever had to start a season at this point in his career.
He's tied for 3rd in the major leagues with his 12 doubles, batting .295 on the road, but he's 0 for his last 20. How about that?
That's surprising.
Well, that's what happens when you win ball games. You know, you don't focus on one person. You know, you could kind of, a guy could be in a little rut and he kind of sneaks through because, you know, it's not saying that, well, this guy cost us a game. So he's going to pick up his teammates. They definitely have picked him up of late.
The Cardinals this season are 6-5 against left-handed pitching so far. And Glaus takes one in the dirt. And the count runs full, so Ludwick off with this next pitch.
You see Glaus talking to himself, trying to say, okay, keep my weight back. Weight back.
I was talking with Troy today. He owns close to 20 horses. And after watching the Kentucky Derby, he said that was tough to watch. Euthanized one of the horses in the finish.
He finished 2nd.
That's right.
His wife is a 3-day eventer.
Right. Grew up in California. His off-season home, though, is in Florida. The 3-2 pitch. Glaus off the glove of the pitcher to the third baseman. Barehanded. Oh, what a play. Atkins throws out Glaus with a little help from Mark Redmond. Flash back on the left. That's Langford in 1991. Pujols just last night. A couple of plays at the plate. And good finishes for St. Louis. Clint Hurdle, the manager of the Rockies since 2002, and his team is off to a slow start at 12-20. Let's look at his lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Brad Hoff is who we highlight. Hit his 3rd home run last night, and 2 of the 3 have come against St. Louis so far this year. Different look for him in this lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines, and one of the different looks is at the top of his lineup, and that is Willie Taveras, who leads the National League in stolen bases with 14. And the Rockies, as a team, Al, have tried to be very aggressive. They've got 31 steals on the season. That's 2 balls and no strikes. And now our Rico starter for the Cardinals, Braden Looper.
Off to a great start. 4-1. See the ERA under 4. Won his 50th major league game his last time out. And he's been pitching very effectively.
And even when he is not at his best, he just kind of guts his way through these starts. He's been in tough positions before, having been a setup guy and a closer when the games are on the line, and you know, he just seems to deal with the pressure and have no problem with it. That's past Pujols and into right. Barton over to get it, and Taveras will stay at first base with a leadoff single. Be fun to see what kind of running he may want to do against Molina. Cardinals defense tonight as we go around the horn, brought to you by Auto Tire. Ludwick, Ankiel, and Barton. Glaus, Isturis, Kennedy, and Pujols on the infield, and Yadier Molina, he'll be tested. He's behind the plate. 8 career games at this ballpark and an 0-2 record for Looper. So a leadoff base hit for Willie Taveras, the former Astro. Quintanilla, who came over in a mid-July trade in 05 from Oakland, part of the Joe Kennedy deal, digs in the second baseman tonight for Clint Hurdle. Tony does such a good job of neutralizing the running game. You have a great catcher, but a lot of the moves over to first base are called from Tony La Russa.
Well, Tony's responsible. What he's doing right now is that's controlling the running game. But the pitchers have done a very poor job of allowing Molina an opportunity to throw. Molina's only thrown out 4 of 19 stolen base attempts. They had 3 steals last night on him, but rarely has he had a chance to effectively throw out a runner because of the jump that they get off the pitcher.
That old lineup of San Francisco leading the league in stolen bases, and the 3 best in the National League, all from the Western Division.
Harris has 14 steals and 15 attempts.
Had 33 steals a year ago. No balls and 2 strikes. And anytime that you face the Cardinals, one thing you have to watch out for is Molina catching base stealers, not just trying to swipe bags, but also picking them off too. As we talked about last night, kind of a feel thing between he and Pujols. There's a base hit on an 0-2 pitch. Barton over to get it, and Taveras will stop at second base. So back-to-back singles and an 0-2 mistake that time from Looper. This is earlier in the bullpen as Looper was warming up and pitching coach Dave Duncan watching. What does he see here, you think, Al?
Well, we're trying to guess, and he kind of like stands tall and fall, and he kind of spins off there a little bit. So Dave will tell him, and he points to his shoulder and the way he rotates. And see how he's rotating with his upper body, not using his legs. So he's trying to get him to get a little more tilt, and that'll help him get the ball down. And he liked that one much better. See? I'm a mind reader.
This is last year's batting champ, Matt Holliday. Hit .340 last season, a batting championship with 216 hits to lead the National League. 1 for 3 with a double last night. So what are you seeing then if he's flying open like that? What's it going to do?
Well, the ball, one, your arm is dragging and the ball is elevated. You can't get it down. You got to stay on top of it to get the sink.
Runners at first and second. That pitch misses outside. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And I think Looper also was maybe really paying too much attention to Taveras and not enough attention to the location of the pitch to Quintanilla, and got the ball up, hit the line drive over second base for the 2 hits.
Saw a double steal last night by the Rockies. That's a ball inside. 2-1 the count on Matt Holliday. Did you know Father Tom played in the Pirates organization? Well, you get a lot of second-generation young men that find themselves in the major leagues or professional baseball. Taught the game from their fathers. The 2-1 pitch. And Looper credits a lot of family members for being where he's at now in the major leagues.
Sure. A lot of the players from my era, it was really their wives that taught their kids, because the dads weren't around. Not every team allowed the players to be around their fathers like the Duncans. Chris and Shelley were, like we were talking last night, grew up at the Oakland Coliseum with their father.
Saw Dave Duncan also trying to help Chris Duncan in the batting cage tonight. He was watching very closely with Chris, who is not in the lineup tonight. We talked about his struggles in the field, but also at the plate, as Chris was 0 for 4 with a strikeout and also grounded into a double play. They need his bat, no doubt. There's the double steal. Hit out of play and foul.
Once again, very good jumps, and
it's a team that overall, you see that Holliday is 1 for 6 against Looper, but they're still waiting for this offense to really get going. As a team, only hitting .252 with 25 home runs. The Cardinals is 2 back of the Rockies in that home run department, but Clint Hurdle has talked about trying to generate offense with the speed that they have with 31 stolen bases. And teams that don't hit, you try to generate that offense, and also a problem for them this year has been situational hitting. And we talked about it last night, the fact they hardly have any sacrifice flies after 1 month of play.
Yeah, they have 4 sacrifice flies, one of those by a pitcher.
Runners go, and the pitch is popped up. Shallow center. Kennedy back, and he'll make the catch. And the runner's back to second and first. It's a key out right there. That's Holliday. That's a good example right there where you got their big bats coming up, and yet Holliday can't come through. And let's see what Helton can do now against Braden Looper.
Rarely have they had productive outs. They're not getting the timely hitting. They're not getting a lot of little things that they did a year ago to make themselves the National League champions. They have very good players. They just haven't collectively put it together. And their pitching staff has struggled on top of it.
Here's Todd Helton, who was signed through 2011. This time last year, there was talk of Helton being with the Boston Red Sox. And he has been a mainstay. since being the 8th overall pick in 1995. And against the Cardinals this season, 6 for 16 with an RBI and 2 doubles. His average overall at .279. 3 home runs, 11 driven in. Runners at first and second. Rockies half of the first. Strike one.
It's one of Todd's best months, so you got to be careful. Very dangerous hitter.
What a job Dave Duncan has done with this revamped pitching staff, as the Cardinals starters statistically could not have gotten much worse from a year ago. They were awful.
But they got an awful lot of valuable experience. Looper, his first year in the rotation after a career as a reliever, and a successful one. Now, you know, I mean, he won a career high 12 games last year. Now he thinks he's a starter.
Todd Wellemeyer. I mean, Wellemeyer is a huge success story with this team too.
Guy that was released from the Kansas City Royals bullpen, moves into the Cardinals rotation, and you know was intriguing enough to bring him back and to think that he would compete at least for a spot in that rotation.
2-1 pitch. Help in the air to center. Ankiel with room. Gets back, settles under it, and he'll fire into third base. And what a throw! Oh, goodness, what a play from Rick Ankiel on the fly to third. And he gets one of the fastest runners in the game in Willie Taveras. Wow! What a cannon from number 24.
Nice deke by Troy Glass, standing there giving the impression that it's not going to be a throw or a play.
Oh, right on the bag.
Again today, instead of his bat, he used his speed, but you still need to keep that guy in check. Already scored a run tonight in an execution. Plain and simple, whether you're talking about pitching, offense, or defense, the Rockies need to execute and do the little things.
Well, you know, case in point, that first inning, you have 2 leadoff singles, good speed aboard. You have Holiday and Helton coming up, and the Rockies do not produce. And I know, you know what, this is a tough game. You're not always going to come through. Even if you're Matt Holiday, even if you're Todd Helton, even if you're Garrett Atkins, that's why guys hit 300, not 800. I understand that. Unfortunately, right now, the Rockies, you know, are in a collective funk as a club and trying to find their way out. Molina takes another takes a strike. It's 0-1.
You know, the difference in that first inning, Pujols gets a 2-out knock, and then Ludwick follows that up, and that's how they score.
And that's why right now they're 21-12.
And it will turn. It changes. You go through the ebb and flows of a season, it will change.
Now, the Rockies at one point last year, 9 games under, 18-27. And you don't want to reach that point.
Nope.
They're 8 games under for the second time this year. It's been a while since they've won consecutive ball games. It will turn. It's tough when you're going through a period like this. Nice pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Molina, this is interesting. The Molina brothers in the National League, of course, Jose.
Well, we apologize to our viewers back home in St. Louis, throughout the Midwest. Little transmission trouble, but we're back. 1-2 pitch to Molina. Slowly hit towards third. A double play ball. 5-4-3. And when I said earlier that the Rockies, struggle defensively, we had talked to some of their people that felt that some of their infielders had really been fighting it as of late, and minus Troy Tulowitzki, you feel you take a step down. But this was a team statistically a year ago that was very, very good.
Right, and that was kind of surprising. Their team has kind of really transformed. Now they have the running game. Their defense is so much better. The pitching staff was a factor. But now their pitching staff is a factor by walking so many. Hasn't transpired in this game yet.
Here's Braden Looper, the Cardinal pitcher, is batting 8th again tonight. 2 balls and no strikes, and what a play from Rick Ankiel. I didn't think he had any chance to get Willie Taveras tagging up from second to third as deep as that ball was hit, but Ankiel, no problem. That ball is laced into left center field, and to the wall it goes. Looper on his way to second base, and he'll stop right there. A 2-out double for Looper, and it brings in Cesar Izturis. But back to the play by Rick Ankiel in center field. He doesn't have to think like when he was on the mound. Just catch it and throw.
Well, there's a couple things that happened right there. Taveras, as you said, 14 steals, and Ankiel winds up and fires a strike. You saw the first video. You saw where Kennedy was saying throw it to third base. But look at Troy Glass, kind of the deke out there, standing kind of flat-footed, not anticipating the throw coming there, try to deke the runner a little bit, and then at the last second drop down that tag. But
Al, I didn't see it. Was Taveras slow from second base? Did he just assume that Ankiel's not going to throw?
I think he just figured that he had no chance, because he was shocked when he turned around after being called out, and it wasn't that close, as he looked out to center field like, what happened?
It's an unbelievable throw from Rick Ankiel.
And Kennedy was telling him to throw to second base.
Wow.
Well, I'm partly responsible for this.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. As I reminded Rick Ankiel, I said, you remember in your rookie season, you were matched up against Mark Redmond, and he outpitched you. He was a 12-game winner the same year that Rick was 11-game winner, their rookie seasons. Mark was pitching for Minnesota. And Rick says, well, I don't really remember the game. I remember that I didn't throw very well. I felt terrible in the bullpen. So he's decided that he's going to beat Redmond tonight.
Well, his arm is still one of the best in baseball, even though he's not on the mound. And, you know, Al, I think there's a lot to be said for the fact that he doesn't have to worry about pitching every 5th day, and he just goes out and plays, you know, just relaxes, and it's reactionary for him. Catch the ball, throw it.
Yeah, and that's why you could sit there and he could throw strikes all day as an outfielder, because he's not thinking about it. And he also had that little swinging bunt that he beat out too.
Cardinals with 3 base hits. Check that, 4 base hits. Next to Izturis, off the shortstop, Farmas and into left, and Looper will score. So another 2-out base hit RBI, and it's 2-0 Cardinals.
Izturis is starting to contribute. You know, that's a 7-game hitting streak for him. During that time, better than .350, and the Cardinals add to their lead. Farmas just wanted no part of that, as instead of squaring up to it, playing it in front, to where if it takes a bad hop, it goes off his chest, played to the side, and it goes into the outfield and gives the Cardinals a run.
Here is Barton, who flied out to right center first time up. Getting a start in right field. 2 for 2 against the Rockies. That opening series in St. Louis. On base percentage over .400 to start a play tonight.
He's done an outstanding job as a pinch hitter.
It's been one of the Cardinals' best with 5 pinch hits.
And that's one of the league's best. Tony finds a way how to keep him sharp and not overexposing. It's really his first, look at the big leagues.
But he does provide a spark. Miguel Mejia did not provide a spark. He was a pitch runner extraordinaire.
And then he had to be careful with his judgment there.
Then you had Hector Luna. He's another Rule 5 guy under Tony La Russa.
Luna had some pluses.
Cardinals traded Luna to get Ronnie Belliard in a deal that really paid off. Belliard made one of the top plays in that 2006 postseason run. That's well hit, and it's off the top of the wall. It just carried. Izturis will score, and Barton delivers with 2 outs, and it's 3-0 Cardinals. It's another ball just like his first, where I didn't think it was going to carry as far as it did, and it just kept on going.
But we saw at times in spring training that the ball jumps off of Barton's bat, and 3 hits in a row here at the end of your order is padding the lead. So it's the 4th hit of the inning. What saved them is the double play off the bat of Molina.
Now, we talk about his speed, but you stand next to Brian Barton, his upper body is pretty well put together. He's a big guy up top. And let's take a look at the Firestone Major League leaders in hits in Boston at 332, but the Cardinals 4th best, tied with the Dodgers at 310. Look at Hal McRae, the Cardinal hitting coach. Good start for St. Louis tonight.
And that was coming in, and they already have 6 hits here in the 2nd inning.
So a runner at second base. Here's Kennedy facing a lefty tonight. Jim, what about this 2-hole in the lineup for Tony La Russa?
Yeah, it's been a great year for Adam Kennedy, but particularly in the 2-hole coming into tonight, Dan, when he's batting second in the lineup, 6 for 12 with 3 walks, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs. I said, is there a different approach when I talked to Kennedy when you're batting second? He said, not really, but when you're hitting in front of Pujols, you have more responsibility. Maybe you focus a little more, Dan.
The 0-1 pitch. Thank you, Jim. And Adam Kennedy coming off his worst season a year ago. Hit just .219. His Geico quote, Darren Erstad was the best number 2 hitter I ever saw. I watched him with a purpose, hoping I could emulate him in that spot. Darren Erstad now with Houston, and those two were teammates in Anaheim. Here comes a 1-1 pitch. Kennedy takes it low and away. And on deck, it's Albert Pujols, who doubled his first time up, reaching base in 34 straight to begin this season. The most since the following 3 players did so in 1999. Gonzalez, Tomey, and Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter did it 53 straight back in 1999.
05, Albert reached base 33 straight, so this is his longest streaks to start a season. And in his rookie year, at one point during the course of the year, he reached base 48 straight times.
Redmond is pitching for his life in the rotation for the Rockies. Slicing down the left field line and foul. Relies heavily on that changeup that he possesses. But he is struggling tonight, no doubt. 34-year-old left-hander, his 14th professional season. Second with the Rockies. First-round pick, 13th overall by Minnesota back in 1995.
And Redmond won 12 games in his rookie year. His career high is 14 and 03 with Florida.
Very good in that Marlins championship team. There's a base hit into left. Off the bat of Kennedy, and Barton will score. All the runs tonight for the Cardinals scored with 2 outs. It's 5 hits in the inning. And activity now in the Rockies bullpen.
And he got robbed the first time. But here, going with the pitch away, guiding it towards the left field hole. And Barmas just couldn't come up with the range to get to it. Just beyond his reach. And another 2-out base hit. That's 4 consecutive hits. 5 hits in this inning. And 7 hits already in the game.
If you're the Rockies, this is, even though it's early, this is a real crucial part of their season, because Arizona is running away with their division, despite the fact that they lost last night. They've lost 2 in a row, but Colorado is already, Al, 9 games back, and Los Angeles has really picked it up. They just took 2 of 3 against the Rockies over the weekend. They trail even San Francisco. San Diego is tied in the cellar of this National League West. Both these teams, Colorado and the Padres, with 12 wins.
Yeah, they're talking about the worst, tied for the worst record in the National League. The defending National League champions.
First pitch to Albert Pujols. Is a strike. Pujols a double to right center field his first time up. Came around to score on the 2-out base hit by Ludwick. 4-0 St. Louis.
Wind is really whipping, as there is rain in the forecast, but we thought it should be later tonight. And the next 2 days are in jeopardy. See the snow back there in the mountains. Another beautiful day today.
See what Pujols has done. This is updated with his double back in the first. He is 6 for 12 with a homer. Here comes the 0-2 pitch. Inside. Ludwick on deck. 4-0 Cardinals. The Cardinals with 1 run in the first and 3 this inning.
Tries to throw his cutter in on these right-handed batters, and many times he doesn't get it in far enough. He's got a slow breaking ball and his patented changeup.
1-2 pitch. Pujols, a foul tip held on to by Iannetta. He strikes out. And that's the first strikeout for the lefty tonight. Looper has been given a 4-0 lead. Hilton St. Louis at the ballpark is the only hotel that gives you home field advantage and an extraordinary experience for Cardinals baseball. Number to call is 421-1776 for hotel and ticket packages. So 4-0 lead for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the second. Garrett Atkins, Brad Hoff, and Chris Iannetta for the Rockies. And it's quickly 0-2. Dave Stewart came to Oakland back in 1986, and at that time Allie had only had 5 starts in his career, and he met Dave Duncan. And the rest is history. Dave Stewart was outstanding, and you have to start to give Dave Duncan a lot of credit for what's going on right now with this team.
Well, yeah, Dave Stewart was a guy that was the 9th, 10th man on a 10-man staff, and kind of a journeyman. And he became just one of the best clutch performers in that rotation, 20-game winner. Resurrected a few guys.
2-2 into center, Ankiel right at him, and he'll make the catch. Toughest ball, the one right at you. And Rick Ankiel puts it away for out number 1.
It's hard to judge whether it's going to carry towards you, whether it has a top spin to sink. So a lot of times you like to get a little bit to the side so you can see the altitude or the height of it to make that good judgment.
And Rick was even talking about Al last night, remember, about the ball carrying too, so that at this ballpark adds to that equation.
Yeah, you normally kind of was talking about how the ball was carrying a little bit further, so you have a tendency to lay back, and then you realize you had to come in.
Tight strike zone early on as Brad Hoff takes a ball inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. 11th round pick back in 2000. A lot of homegrown talent when you talk about the Rockies, but with the Cardinals tonight, you look at what they have in their lineup. Kennedy, Pujols, Ankiel, Molina, Looper, all drafted by St. Louis.
Yeah, you're facing an offense that has not gotten on track. Last season, they had 3 guys with over 100 RBIs. Ludwick had 99. Helton had 91. So, I mean, they had just an unbelievable thunder. But they're not getting that same production.
2-2 is hit to second. Kennedy there. Matter of fact, partner was 5 guys with 90 or more RBIs last year for the Rockies. 5.
Yeah, that's 3 with over 100, 1 with 99, and 1 with 91.
So that
makes
makes 5. That's 5.
Very good.
I'm with you.
You know, that education you got at the Onion is just amazing.
The Rockies against right-handed pitching last year, 70 wins. That was most in the league. So they tore up the right-handers. And this was a team, Clint Hurdle saw his team 4 games under 500 on July 1st, and then all of a sudden at the end of the season they go on that remarkable run, 21-1, and they get into postseason play and rolled right through the National League.
Still early, but you'd like to see some better signs, that knowing that you're going to have that kind of push.
Houston did it a couple of times. Remember, they started out one year 15-30 and eventually made it to postseason play. But like you said, you got to stay somewhat close to your division leaders. And at the start of play tonight, they're 9 games out. Seen Looper go in and out.
He's much more efficient this second inning than he was in the first.
And that's a swing and a miss by Iannetta and a strikeout. First of the night for Braden Looper. The Platte River here in Colorado. Gorgeous night. It's 4-0. Friday night, going to look around the major leagues. It's the baseball report here on FSN, covering every team all season long. Highlights, interviews, and analysis that you don't get anywhere else. It's the baseball report, Friday at 5:30 here on FSN Midwest. There's Ludwick, picked up the first RBI of the night. His 17th of the season. Coming into play tonight, he had 25 hits, now 26. And 15 of those 26 hits have gone for extra bases. So right around 60%. Delivered a little pop off that bench for Tony La Russa.
Just came out of his shoes swinging at that off-speed pitch.
The 1-1 off the end of the bat and fouled back.
There's times when Ludwick, has struck out a lot more than you would like. And you made an interesting statement, I think, last week on the homestand when you said when he makes contact, he's hitting like 500.
Right. I mean, he'll get his fair share of strikeouts, but when he puts it in play, it's with some pop. There's a little of that authority that we talk about. No Duncan tonight, so Ludwick is in left field, and Chris Duncan, 74 at bats, only 2 home runs, so struggled in the field last night and also a little bit at the plate so far to begin this season.
And remember, you got the left-hander on the mound, so
it's 3 consecutive nights too.
See 2 more lefties right after this. Jeff Francis tomorrow against Wainwright. That'll be a great matchup.
3-2 pitch to Ryan Ludwick. Pulled foul. And Wainwright going for St. Louis tomorrow. Cardinals were pretty cautious with Wainwright in that last start, coming off 126 pitches against Houston, and then a very effective start again against the Chicago Cubs. The one right after the 126.
He was in line for the victory. That slipped away, but then the Cardinals ultimately won it.
Last night it was Joel Pinheiro. He struggled, and with more on that night, let's check in with Jim.
Well, Dan, Chris Duncan had a rough one in left field, and when Pinheiro came out of the game, the folks watching at home might have thought Pinheiro was glaring. That's a foul ball at left field and Chris Duncan. And so I asked Joel about that today. I said, were you shooting him a look, because obviously it wasn't his best effort in the field last night? And he said no. He said, I was mad at myself, and I was looking up at the scoreboard and realizing what a poor outing I had by looking at all the numbers. And he said, now that you mentioned it, I can understand why it looked that way. But wasn't the case with Joel last night, guys.
All right, good job, Jim. Thanks. Glad to clear that up. 3-2 on Ludwick. And a good at bat. A couple of foul balls. Pitches that he fought off, and it's a leadoff walk for Ludwick. On base for the second time, and it brings in Troy Gloss. Gloss looked to have a base hit, but then it went off the pitcher's glove, Redmond's glove, to the third baseman, and then eventually he was thrown out to end the top half of the first. The first pitch is swung on and missed. 4-0 Cardinals here in the top of the third. Cardinals have already picked up 7 base hits. 3 of those have been doubles. And the 0-1 is hit down the left field line, and this ball is foul. 0-2.
And when you're in a slump, you hit a ball on the nose, you'll pull it foul.
Young man is happy. Picked up the souvenir off the bat of Troy Gloss. Oh, 2 pitch to Troy. Wasted outside. What's frustrating for the Rockies is not only their start, but they gave out some pretty big contracts to young players, and right now no return. Manny Corpus was their closer, gave him an extension in spring training. Yet Tulowitzki gave him $31 million. He's out with a tear in his quad.
And that's a tough blow, you know, when you talk about Tulowitzki. I've seen Troy Glass at times loft the ball to right field, kind of getting underneath it. And then when he has a pitch that he can drive, he fouls it off. And they said, and it's amazing, but Tulowitzki was really their clubhouse leader in his rookie season.
It's one of the reasons that they gave him the contract.
Sure.
How he handled himself off the field. They felt it wasn't a risk. Got off to a really poor start. But with a young player like that, I don't think you worry that much. I mean, it's just a time of adjustment. It's a long season. And he had just a terrific season a year ago.
Clint Hurdle,
2-2 into right center field. Ludwick will make the turnaround second. He'll stop there.
And a good piece of hitting as he goes after that pitch that's down the way.
8th base hit for the Cardinals. And Sunday, it's the groundbreaking show that earned 4 Emmy nominations for combining sports and science. Returns this week at Sports Science, and it's this Sunday at 9 only on FSN Midwest.
That breaks an 0 for 21 streak for Troy Glass.
Rick Ankiel on that play by Pujols to score picked up the RBI. It was a game-winning RBI last night for Ankiel, his 7th. And that's the league leader now in the major leagues.
Major leagues.
He's ahead of Manny Ramirez. A sweeping breaking ball and a strike. And for those of you that have just joined us, Rick Ankiel with one of the top throws of the season as he caught Willie Taveras trying to tag up from second to go to third, and it was in deep center field, and Ankiel threw him out. Down the right field line, and this is pulled. And it's hooking foul. Home run distance, but pulled foul. And here's the play that we're talking about.
Taveras out at second base has 14 steals, so one of the fastest guys in the league. See him out there deep, just rears back, throws him out. Troy Glass applies a tag, and look at Taveras going, what happened?
That's the best part of the highlight. Looking back at Ankiel and thinking, you got to be kidding me.
Hey, Dan, with all these base hits right now, you think we might see somebody do what John Mabry did here a few years back?
The cycle, right?
All right. He did a natural cycle. Single, double, triple, and home run.
0-2 pitch. Ankiel just got a piece. At the 7th game-winning RBI last night for Rick Ankiel. And people ask us about the biggest surprise of the first month of the season, and you know, most people that we talk to from the outside looking in say, well, what about this Ankiel? This is unbelievable. We take it for granted what this guy has been able to do. And still getting used to big league pitching and doing it, playing a very tough position, center field. And misses outside. 1-2. What was your biggest surprise of the first month? Pitching staff, I guess, comes to mind, huh?
Sure. Pitching staff, the way they just did such an excellent job, the starting rotation.
There's 2 guys I think you can look at that really have solidified this team. And one of them is pictured right there, and that's Cal Lowe's. When they got him, it just stabilized the starting 5. And then the other guy is Cal McClellan and the job that he's done in the bullpen.
Can't argue with either one of those.
Swing and a miss. 74-mile-an-hour pitch. And how about Skip Schumacher? As much as we love to watch Eckstein play, but people, forgotten about that with the kind of start that Skip Schumacher has had.
Yeah, he got an 0 for 16. Ron Ballone has been outstanding. Jeff Murphy. Nobody can catch those arms better than the Murph. Willem Myers contributed. I mean, everybody's contributed, and that's what happens. That's why you look at it and say, okay, Mulder or anybody like that, where are they going to play?
Molina out to deep right. Ludwick will tag up from second base on his way to third, and it's cut off. By the way, I spoke to John Mozeliak about a half hour before the first pitch, and he is watching a game tonight, but we asked him about Mark Mulder, and he said at this point Mulder is headed back to St. Louis. He'll meet with George Paletta tomorrow, And I asked him, I said, well, what's that mean for his next start? He said, it's up in the air. Would he go to extended spring? Would he be a guy that joins the club after his 30-day rehab? And he said he doesn't want to jump to any conclusions at this point, but he'll wait until that evaluation by George Paletta. For those of you that didn't watch the pregame show and you weren't privy to our conversation with John Mozeliak, Mark Mulder complained of a little bit of a shoulder fatigue after the ball game last night, the latter stages of that game. So at least at this point, not good news for Mark Mulder.
Well, you know, there's a lot of little things that can happen with shoulder surgeries, are much more complicated than, say, the Tommy John or the elbow. They pretty much perfected those. And, you know, let's just hope it's maybe, you know, a little scar tissue and you need to get
Looper with another base hit. This one into right. And Looper with his second base hit of the night.
Well, his first one was probably the biggest because that came with 2 outs and nobody on. And then you had 4 consecutive hits after that where the Cardinals broke it open a little bit. And it looks like Clint Hurdle has seen enough. He's gone to his bullpen.
It's all of 5 runs scored with 2 outs by the Cardinals tonight. Jason Grilli is coming in from the bullpen. Looper with a double and a single. A triple and a home run away from matching John Mabry. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by your St. Louis area Kia retailers. Kia, the power to surprise. By Aflac. Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Bank of America, the official bank of the St. Louis Cardinals. State Capitol in Colorado. It's 5-0 St. Louis. 9 hits, and that knocks out Mark Redmond, the left-hander. So Jason Grilli, a right-hander, out of the bullpen for Colorado is in. He snapped a 12 1/3 inning scoreless streak on Saturday night. Allowed the first runs as a Rocky. Pitched a scoreless 5th inning before allowing 2 runs in the 6th. 31-year-old right-hander appeared in 9 games for the Tigers this season, then came over to Colorado. So his ERA is not great, but only 2 appearances prior to tonight. And that call to the bullpen is always brought to you by Chevrolet.
Originally drafted by the Giants in the June '97 draft. He's played for the Marlins, the White Sox, and Tigers prior to coming here to Colorado.
Runners at first and second for Cesar Izturis, 2 outs. All 5 runs have been scored with 2 outs.
And that is not an unusual occurrence this season. That has happened far too often if you talk to Bob Apodaca or Clint Hurdle. Just can't finish off an inning.
And one good thing about the Cardinals, at least in the first couple of games, is that the on-base percentage has been good, and they're bringing those base runners in. That's been kind of a disturbing trend for the Cardinals offensively. The fact that their on-base percentage is high, but yet leaving a lot of base runners on.
And, well, they're driving in runs.
Two 2-0 on Cesar Izturis. Slaps one foul. You look at the finish for the Rockies, the greatest month plus that they ever had, and you know, it was something that any team would sit there and say, we're playing out of our minds right now. And certainly the Rockies did that. Everything went right for them. They pitched, they hit, they fielded, dramatic wins. But now they're back to where a lot of people expected them to be at 12-20.
Except the Rockies fans and the Rockies team.
Really has been shaken off his catcher Chris Iannetta since he came into the game.
Say, Iannetta, remember last year he had trouble hitting, but he was the opening day catcher. Lost playing time, but I think that he's still going to be an excellent receiver.
And he split time last year with a guy that was one of their postseason heroes.
Torrealba, who played every game in postseason, caught every game.
3-1 the count. 5-0 lead. He has shaken off everything, it looks like. Little bloop into center. Should be caught, and it will be. Taveras is there. The Cardinals strand 2. They have stranded 4. They add to their lead. It's 5-0 midway through 3. Well, you can join the excitement all day Sunday, May 18th, and that is Stan the Man statue replica day. It's the same statue that you see outside of Gate 3, the replica at Busch Stadium. Also an ice cream sundae. And you can celebrate Hunter Family Day and receive a free hot dog and a soda with the purchase of a reserve terrace or pavilion ticket. And it's also Run the Bases Day. And I'm going to add to that. You and I will be in the Champions Club on May 18th, and also some former Cardinals as well on May 18th in the Champions Club. We had seats that were returned there, so Al, myself, some former Cardinals are going to be there on that Sunday afternoon game in the Champions Club. And you can find out more at stlcardinals.com. We're trying to line up the one and only John Mabry is one of those former Cardinals. It'll be fun.
I'll be there a little late. I've got another activity first, but you'll be the starting pitcher. You'll be the starting pitcher, and I'll take over in relief.
And you can close it out.
And I only want a third of an inning.
That's all you got. Left. Is that what you're telling me? That's all you got left?
No, that's just, I'll let you be the star for several hours, and I'll just close it out.
I don't want to. You need to be there. I would say the game's at 1:15, so I need you there by at least 2:15.
It'll be a little later.
All right. We can
Shooting
carry
for about 2:30.
But that's the Champions Club, May 18th. Some former Cardinals. Al will be there. And you can buy your tickets at stlcardinals.com. They've got the all-inclusive buffet and the flat screens, and we'll have some fun on that Sunday. Over to get it is Barton. Farmas is going to try for 2. The throw into second base, not in time. And a double for Clint Farmas, the former starter at shortstop, filling in for Tulowitzki.
Barton got over there and cut it off. His arm is improving. And working with Dave Duncan. Sets himself.
So a leadoff double, and it gives us time to wish congratulations to Lori Cohen and Andy Strickland. They were engaged last week. So Lori Cohen and Andy Strickland, congratulations, as they were engaged last week in Mexico. Andy works at radio station 1380 in St. Louis and hopes to be married within the next year, but they're engaged. Bloss will throw to first. Covering is Kennedy, and the sacrifice is good. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Top of the lineup, here's Willie Taveras with 1 out. He singled his first time up and then was thrown out at third. Best friend, Orioles outfielder Luke Scott, taught him English. Those two were teammates in Houston. Who taught you Spanish? Or was it just because you were around it? You picked it up.
There was a manager of the Wasabi, Cardinals de Wasabi, was a bird dog scout for the Cardinals, and he arranged that I lived with a family. He was also staying at that same house, and they had young girls, and sit at the table. And
broken bat hit to short is Turris. We'll throw to first and get the out.
Pick up an ashtray, and I'd say ashtray, and they'd say Sinicero. We just kind of taught each other some of the language, but really I learned my Espanol in the calles de Mexico.
Now, with our Cardinal players, will you talk Spanish with them?
I talk Hungarian with them.
So they truly have no idea what you're talking about. And there is Tony La Russa. He is bilingual, of course. This day and age, good thing to be. All the Hispanic players in the game. It's Turris over to Pujols. RBI for Taveras, his 4th, and the Rockies get on the board. Well, Saturday, tune in for an in-depth look at Big 12 spring football. Our block schedule begins Saturday at 7:30. Break down each team into 30-minute shows. Give you a behind-the-scenes peek at the season ahead FSN Big 12 Spring Football Series. Saturday, right here on FSN Midwest. What a year. Mizzou is coming off a Cotton Bowl championship, Big 12 North championship, nationally ranked. You've got the Kansas Jayhawks winning the Orange Bowl. New head coach in Nebraska, Bo Pelini. Kansas State, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, some believe, and Josh Freeman. So you can see it all this weekend, the spring football special this weekend on FSN. It was fun to watch, wasn't it, this fall with Mizzou and what they did, even Illinois too.
Sure was.
Illinois made it to the Rose Bowl.
Love to have those teams force us to go down there and watch them play like we used to do in the 70s.
Early season showdown at the Dome. Mizzou and Illinois this year. There's a swing and a miss by Barton, but he's going to reach with his speed. Throw is not in time, and Barton strikes out but reaches base for the second time tonight. For Grilly, that's his first strikeout.
Gets away, the ball in the dirt, and Etta can't locate it before Barton takes off and reaches base. So.
And it brings in Adam Kennedy. Let's see what the Cardinals want to do here. Nobody out, good speed at first base, and a guy that hit the cover off the ball, and Adam Kennedy.
Well, you know, it's still a 5-1 Cardinal lead, but it's early.
I know they've used the humidor, but it still feels like no lead is ever safe in this ballpark.
Exactly, and they've got a lot of potential. The runners on at 371 average.
Barton, a nice lead at first. Not running. The 1-0 pitch is taken for a strike. Kennedy tonight an RBI base hit in the second. He also grounded out to third.
He's hit the ball both times to the left side of the field. With Helton holding on, Barton, he may get a pitch that he can pull and hit it into right field.
Tony has always talked about damage from this spot in the lineup. Guys that can hit for power. Edmonds, Duncan, Ankiel, but he is getting production from this guy right now, and that's Adam Kennedy. And Kennedy's last home run is back in August of last season.
And I think he's trying to, you know, maybe sacrifice a little of that power and moving that power down to the 6th spot in the order to balance out the bottom end of the order. But the bottom end has done a nice job tonight. Looper's 2 for 2. Misturis is 1 for 2. And Keel in the 6th spot, 1 for 2.
And a 1-2 pitch on its way. Swing and a miss. And a throw down to first, not in time. This is really a different team, though, for Tony La Russa, because the Cardinals at the start of play tonight with only 23 home runs. You can visit the official online shop of the Cardinals at stlcardinals.com and get the largest selection of team gear, which includes caps and T-shirts and more. Visit stlcardinals.com today. But you know, you think about that with the kind of teams that Tony has had here in St. Louis. Guys with tremendous power in the lineup, and this team only 23 home runs. And to put that in perspective, Chase Utley has 13 already for the Phillies. He alone with 13.
Cardinals still with 23. Rockies only have 25.
Right.
But you know, they're losing and the Cardinals are winning, so they're getting a lot for their bang. They're not hitting the long ball.
Let's take a look at this list, and the last one probably the most important. The Cardinals national rankings and the ERA second best in the National League, a 3.55 ERA, and that's top 5 in the majors.
Pitch that way, you're going to win a lot of games. You got a high average. They're going to be involved in a lot of close games, which is going to put a lot of pressure on that bullpen.
1-1 pitch. Pujols hits it to second. 4, 6, 3, double play. Cardinals hit into their second double play of the night. Holiday, Helton, Atkins coming up for Colorado. Cardinals baseball and a 5-1 lead for St. Louis. Bottom of the 4th. And baseball tonight on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Dan McLaughlin and Al Rabowski with you. 4-1 Cardinals here in the bottom half of the fourth. Holiday, Helton, and Atkins, heart of the lineup for the Rockies. Al, it was 10 years ago. Kerry Wood.
Yeah, I saw that.
Struck out 20 Astros back in 1998, which was the National League record, and he matched Roger Clemens. Chile's pitch count at 44 and a good ratio there, 27 strikes of the 44 pitches. And a high fly ball out to right. Brian Barton over near the line and makes the catch. And at that time, you know, the Cubs are thinking, we've got the preeminent starter in baseball, but injuries and Tommy John surgery, and now Kerry Wood is the closer for Chicago.
Wood and Pryor.
Yeah.
And they thought they had something and just kept on waiting. And at least they're getting something from Kerry now, as he is their closer. And by the way, Chicago behind Zambrano wins 3-0 at Cincinnati. Milwaukee loses at home to Florida 3-0.
Well, the Cubs had a choice, along with Minnesota, who to take. And Minnesota decided to err on the side of signability. Joe Mauer, and that moved. Hey, that paid off big time.
The only thing that saved them was he was a local product. But, you know, it's going to cost them $10 million to sign Pryor, or they could sign a high school local talent, and they picked the right one.
Helton shoots one foul and out of play. 2-2 is the count, and now Looper wants to talk it over with Molina. Speaking of closers, doesn't get a lot of fanfare because he's playing with Tampa Bay, but the former Cardinal reliever Troy Percival, now he's got 10 appearances, no ERA, and 6 saves, and he has been clocked in the mid-90s. His velocity is back with Tampa Bay.
It kind of makes you think that you know, still being a little tentative with him with only 10 appearances.
Slowly hit. Pujols off his glove. Kennedy, though, backs up and out at first as Looper is there. And Kennedy helps out Albert Pujols.
Did Looper hurt himself stretching?
And here comes Barry Weinberg and Tony La Russa. And Looper right after that started stretching.
So Albert tries to backhand it, ranges far, gets right underneath his glove. Kennedy right there, alertly, a wide throw, and you see that Looper all stretched out trying to locate the first base bag.
That's 3 to 4 to 1. Stayed on the bag, and then the reaction of Looper was, you know, he started stretching it. He's trying to stretch out right now his left leg. Let's take a look here.
Well, did he stay on the bag? Because watch, look like he's off, but he's out there trying to point his toe, and he keeps on trying to go back for it.
I agree with you. I'm not so sure.
But Andy Fletcher had a lot closer look than we, and he said he touched it.
Here is Atkins, and let's keep a close eye now on Looper. Isringhausen, speaking of closers, another save last night. He was Jim's guest. And Looper looking back at the mound, and Molina immediately looking back at Looper. Jim's guest on the pregame show was Jason Isringhausen. His 11th save last night, which leads the National League. A little concern now for Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan watching Looper. He's done it with a bat. He's done it on the mound.
You know, he's got 2 hits. Did you see what Jamie Moyer did last night? He had 2 hits, including an RBI base hit. But he's 45 years of age. He became only the 3rd pitcher to have a multi-hit game at the age of 45 or older. Satchel Paige had 3, and Charlie Huff had 1.
Right. There's Mike Parisi. Two pitch. A broken bat lifted out to left and a base hit. Had a nice visit with Mike Parisi tonight, and he was telling me, Al, that he grew up a Mets fan, but once he was drafted by the Cardinals, everything changed in his house. His parents went all red. Banners were all Cardinal red. all the Met stuff was pulled down. He said they got the dish to watch the Cardinals, and he said he's never pitched on back-to-back nights. Now, he had a good outing last night, 2 scoreless innings. And I said, would you be available tonight? He said, yeah. He said, I feel pretty good. And, you know, even though I have been a starter and all my appearances professionally have been as a starter, no problems. I played catch. I'm ready to go, and that's my role now.
That's a lot of times you play catch and just see how stiff you are. But he was impressive. Everything was like 92, 93 miles an hour with his fastball. Very good curveball.
And he said he got the ball on the curveball and the strikeout right here. Matt Hergis, Yadier Molina made sure that Parisi got the baseball following the strikeout, his first ever in the major leagues. Let's check in with Jim Hayes. Jim.
What a great major league debut it was for Parisi. He said last night before the game he cleared all his text messages and voicemails off his phone. He said when he got back in the clubhouse after his 2 scoreless innings, 43 text messages, 11 voicemails, he answered them all. He said he was just enjoying the moment.
That's great. 101 minor league starts, and then his appearance last night. That's right at Albert, and he'll step on the bag. So Hop is 0 for 2. Mike Parisi, his debut last night. We head to the 5th. Ludwick, Loss, and Ankiel coming up. We're back, and it's the 5th inning. And let's take a look at our Aflac trivia question. Who are the top 3 career home run leaders by Tennessee-born players?
I know number 1 is.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good hint right there.
You bet. That's Todd Helton, the former Volunteer, who was a quarterback for Tennessee. 306. Steve Finley, 304. And
Peter Pinson.
Yep, he's at. I was looking very quickly and I wiped it right away.
Well,
you gotta be quick. You gotta be quick on these. Here is Ludwick. Beta was at 256. You know, Todd Helton and Albert Pujols, just incredible starts to their career. They are joined by Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, and Ted Williams. Now think about this. They're 2 of the 5 players in Major League history to have a .330 batting average, 400 on base percentage, .580 slugging percentage in their careers. I mean, you're talking about Gehrig, Ruth, Williams, and then modern day players Todd Helton, and then Albert Pujols. And there's extra bases for Ryan Ludwick. I think a lot of people around baseball are saying, who are these guys? Where did Ryan Ludwick come from? Skip Schumacher? Who are these guys?
Well, we saw Ryan Ludwick last season and saw enough of him to know that, you know, we don't mind him in the lineup anytime. And boy, was he good when he came off the bench as a role player. He did an outstanding job. I go back to Schumacher when, you know, Jim Edmonds was a big endorser of Schumacher, but, you know, Al McRae, the first time he saw him, said, hey, this guy could be he could be a 4th, 5th outfielder. And the next year he improved a little more, and now he's getting even better.
Runner at second base, and Loss takes a pitch inside. I had a conversation yesterday with Skip about Jim Edmonds, and he brought up a real interesting point. Edmonds is off to a slow start this year, but he said, in my mind, this is Skip saying it, I think he's a Hall of Famer. He is going to get consideration for that. I think we both agree with that, because his numbers offensively have been very good over the years, and defensively he'll go down as one of the great center fielders to play in his era. Hall of Famer, borderline, I'm not so sure, but it's interesting to hear a peer say that.
Yeah, and I think everybody now is going to be, you know, whether you were linked or not, you're going to carry suspicions.
And that's the problem with the steroid era. It was a real good cover story in the sports page of the USA Today.
On Griffey.
Yeah, on Griffey. And then that's one guy, Al. He's closing in on 600, and I've never heard his name mentioned with the steroid era.
And it was, he even had some comments in there where he said, you know, he's not blind. You know, he pays attention to what's been going on in the game at that time. But he said, you know, at least I know I did it the right way.
Troy Gloss, a swing and a miss on a 1-2 pitch. He is 1 for 3 in this date in baseball history. Right on cue with Rick Ankiel digging in. Brought to you by Schnucks. Red Sox rookie pitcher Babe Ruth hits his first career home run May 6, 1915. Winds up with 714. The Bambino, the Sultan of SWAT.
And it's appropriate that we mention that when Rick Ankiel comes up.
Grounder hit to second. Runner will advance over to third. And you say that because
Rick Ankiel hit his first home run as a pitcher, and you'd have to go back to 1947. It's just a handful of guys, but last time a pitcher hit his first home run and then hit another home run as a position player was back in 1947. But Rick Ankiel and Babe Ruth are the only two that have won as many as 10 games in a season as a pitcher and hit as many as 10 home runs in a season as a position player.
Babe Ruth sold in 1920 to the Yankees, and he spent 15 years.
I hope that was
with
a
the
good.
Bronx
I
Bombers.
heard that was a good play.
Oh man!
Part of it was to finance a play.
And you saw the all-time home run list. The guy that a lot of people consider to catch Barry Bonds is on the DL right now, and that's A-Rod. And you wonder where Grippy would be. I think it's 13 times he has been on the disabled list in his career. And you wonder about it, where he might be. And there's Rip Rowan, who is
he on that home run list?
He's not on the home run list, but he is one of the guys that helps us out so much. Day in and day out. Behind the scenes, Rip Rowan, the St. Louis Cardinals. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, and we have games 3 and 4 on FSN Midwest, and game 3 is tomorrow night. Adam Wainwright against Jeff Francis. That'll be his 7th start of the season tomorrow for Wainwright, and we'll come your way at 6:30. His first official start of the season against the Rockies. Worked 3 innings, a run, and a rained-out season opener back home in St. Louis. Wainwright, as we talked about before, 126 pitches, and then Tony made a conscious effort to say we need to get him out. And watch that, and then watch that get out of here. The no-doubter from Ionetta cuts the lead to 5-2. Third home run.
Well, they like his power. He has tremendous power. He's a very intelligent young man. And you swing the bat like that, he's going to get more and more playing time. Of course, he had a career high 3 hits last night. See the pitch and the grip, and just way out in front and meets it.
Base hit up the middle by Clint Barmas, the 8th place hitter. And Barmas is 2 for 2.
Molina's going to go out and kind of slow things down. Troy Gloss come out and talk to Looper. This is the all-important 5th inning. You need this to qualify for your victory.
And remember, it was his left leg, it looked like, that bothered him now at the end of last inning on that play at first base.
Yeah, got kind of stretched out there, and then you always worry about it when you sit down, and then you kind of have a tendency to tighten up.
Right.
So you really make sure you take your warm-up tosses.
So back-to-back hits. Here's Grilly, and he pops it up, and that'll find the seats behind home plate.
Sacrificed back in the 3rd inning. And allowed Barmas to score after he reached on a double.
Grilly looking down and getting his signs from third base coach Mike Gallego. Spent his final 2 seasons in the big leagues with Tony La Russa in St. Louis. Molina will fire to second. That's one. On to first, and a double play. Molina, a rocket arm, and he fired to second base. And some boos for Grilly.
Well, he just deadened it. It didn't get out on the grass. It just right there so he could pick it up, pounces on it. And just a nice play. That's a pick-me-up. just didn't go anyplace, right at the feet.
It's an illusion when you have a guy at second base, Turris, taking that throw. You know the throw is going to beat the runner, where sometimes you'll see that fielder not even touch the bag, but it's the illusion of the throw beating the runner. And you know, you're talking about major league players, and the umpires just automatically call them out.
I was talking, the Rockies recently had a situation where an umpire did not give them the call, and then turned around a couple of minutes later and did the other. Let's see, kind of, you put your foot over there. He did make contact. But a lot of times they sit there and they don't want you to stand or give you the benefit of the doubt, so you're not in the line of fire for that guy sliding in and take you out.
2-1 the count on Willie Taveras, showing bunt, trying to pick up a bunt hit, and that's something that he can do very well.
He's got so many infield hits and bunt hits. He's got the most in the National League in the last couple of years.
Cardinals have turned their second double play of the night. The other one was back in the first, and it's worth repeating. The Cardinals have only allowed 3 first-inning runs all season. Taveras in the air to center. Ankiel is there. Home run by Iannetta, and that sends us to the 6th. Looper, Turris, and Barton coming up. Saturday, May 17th is Kids Plate Day at Busch Stadium, and all fans ages 15 and under receive a customized dinner plate featuring Albert Pujols. And the plate is compliments of Powerade and Walgreens. May 17th, Tampa Bay in town. Number to call 345-9000 or head to the Cardinals website at stlcardinals.com. St. Louis has out-hit Colorado 10-6, and the Redbirds have a 5-2 lead.
They're having a conference there. Let's talk about Kip Wells. He underwent 4 hours of surgery this afternoon at Barnes Jewish Hospital in St. Louis. Dr. Rob Thompson removed blood clots from Wells' right hand. And hopefully it's good news. They said, however, no surgical procedure was performed at the original bypass in his shoulder, where he had blood clots a few years back. But, you know, Clint Hurdles said something about, you know, we want to get Kip well. You know, don't worry about when he's able to pitch, just get him well. But he said he really feels sorry for Kip's wife. Remember they had that little baby when he was with the Cardinals? Well, she on Friday had spinal surgery where there was pressure that was affecting her vision on her spine. So, I mean, and his wife is pregnant again, so we wish them nothing but the best, the entire family.
It would be surprising if he is watching tonight in St. Louis, so we wish him the best. He had a rough year in St. Louis, but off to a good start with the Rockies.
He's a good guy, and you know, wish him nothing but the best.
No doubt. Thoughts and prayers with Kip and his family. 2-1 the count on Braden Looper. 5-2 Cardinals here in the top of the 6th. Looper has been a hitting star tonight with a double and a single, an RBI, and a run scored. And that's a ball inside and low. Well, first, let's say game and a half so far in the series, partner, and it's been a lot of hustle in favor of St. Louis. That was Pujols last night. Taveras surprised at this throw and then lost with the tag. And then this play by Molina. Cardinals have done the little things in this series.
And that's why you win. You know, winning doesn't happen just by happenstance. You gotta make. You know, you've got to put pressure on people. You've got to do all kinds of little things. You know, you play team baseball. You give yourself up in order to be successful. And the one thing Tony said, you know, not knowing what this team was going to do, he said, the one thing it's going to do is it's going to work hard and play the game the right way. And if you do that more times than not, you're going to win your fair share.
Turris showing bunt, deadens it, and that is a foul ball.
Foul ball.
Luckily for Turris.
Yeah, because it was just like the bunt that Grilly made. It just stayed right at the plate, but this time one never got in fair territory.
Al, I asked John Mozeliak, the Cardinals GM, the other day about the situation at second and third. And Turris at that time really wasn't hitting all that much. He hasn't hit all that much this season, but he's picked it up the last couple of games. And He said, right now, the way I look at it, we play the hot hand. If it's Brendan Ryan, Cesar Izturis, Adam Kennedy, Aaron Miles.
Izturis has a 7-game hitting streak.
Right.
Batting over 350 during that time.
All of a sudden, he's picked it up, and you ride that out, but it's a good situation. And
yeah.
It's a kind of situation that Tony, I think, loves.
Well, it's healthy. I mean, you know, you don't have that every time you go into that clubhouse, other than a couple names, you know, that will be up there. Everybody else is kind of just scrambling for playing time. And so it keeps everybody on their toes.
The 0-2 pitch. Up and in to Cesar Izturis. Cardinals with 1 run in the first, 3 in the second, and another one in the third, and they did the damage against Redmond. The starter knocked him out after 2 2/3. But healthy competition, not a bad thing. Outfielders, the starting rotation. Middle infield. And guys, I think that feel secure right now, probably your third baseman, even though he's struggling. But he's locked into a long-term deal. Your first baseman, Pujols, Wainwright, and Molina. I mean, those guys, though, all come ready to play and compete.
And you don't worry about the 4 of them either.
No.
Because they're going to come.
Izturis, a ground ball hit to second. They'll get the lead runner there onto first. Not in time. He's 1 for 3. There's someone that came to play every night through all the injuries that he had, and that's Larry Walker. I talked to some of the Rockies people. I said, is it strange for you to see Larry Walker in this ballpark wearing a Cardinal uniform? And follow up to that, why wasn't he part, along with Vinny Castilla, Galarraga, Don Baylor, the Blake Street Bombers, why wasn't he part of the World Series or some of the postseason last year? In many ways, he was the face of the franchise. Agreed?
Definitely. I mean, Larry Walker's the first person you would think of to represent, you know, to be the face of the franchise.
Dante Bichette, the other name I didn't mention.
But you know, Dante, you know, came up that same time, but Larry played longer and did more.
The Cardinals, when you go to spring training, you've got Lou Brock and Red Shandies and Bob Gibson. The Hall of Famers show up.
And I was in Italy during the World Series, but you know, he did not throw out a first pitch.
No,
right?
He did not.
That's unacceptable.
I was really surprised.
I'm sure he was surprised and hurt.
I think so too. The Cardinals have extended an open invitation to Larry Walker and Mike Matheny, Mark McGuire. Those guys can come and go as they please. Will Clark, another one.
Who's now
the Diamondbacks.
With the Diamondbacks is his agent, but you know, agent is now the general partner, former agent.
Mr. Morad. Barton tonight has reached base twice. He struck out and the ball got away. He reached back in the fourth. He doubled, picked up an RBI in the second, scored a run, and fly to right.
Scott Boras is a minority owner of how many clubs?
You know, and it brings up an interesting point. Kyle Loge is represented by Scott Boras, and a lot of fans have asked me about his future with the club. My response is this: you know, it's early. You know, let's see if he can keep it up throughout the season. But if he does keep it up, I'm sure the Cardinals would extend him a contract. But he is represented by Scott Boras, and Boras will probably tell him, wait until after the season and see what you can get in the open market.
I told him that this past year, too.
Swing and a miss by Barton. 2-1.
Really, he's given them some much-needed relief tonight.
There's Kyle Loge. Matt Holliday is represented by Scott Boras.
Well, sometimes, you know, some of the bigger names take precedent, and you know, Jeff Weaver and Lowe, some of these guys like that, you know, got pushed aside and didn't have takers until very late.
What do you do if you're Colorado? Holliday is signed, I believe, through next season, and then up after that year. If you can't sign him this offseason, I'm not sure you keep him. See what you can get. Big decision for the Rockies. 3-1 pitch to Barton. Foul. Going back to Larry Walker. You know, Larry Walker was part of that great Expos team back in 1994. Team that was 34 games above 500. Pedro Martinez, Moises Alou, Larry Walker, Cliff Floyd, Mike Lansing was part of that team. And they were loaded. Signed as a free agent, though, and wound up here in Denver.
A lot of those guys played minor league baseball right here in Denver with the Denver Bears. And if memory serves me right, at one time they had just an unbelievable record. And a lot of those guys from Montreal had an unbelievable record in the American Association.
Well, Grillet's just taking his time, so Holiday says, I'm going to grab some more seeds. Working pretty slowly tonight.
You need your salt intake, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. 3-2 pitch. Fouled away. The runner going. With just one out here in the Cardinals half of the 6th. The Denver Bears, their team history. Cardinals minor league affiliate in 1932. Started in the Western League in 1900. Homes included, Mile High. Where the Rockies started. So there you go. Barton, a high fly ball into shallow right. Long way to go for Hop, and it's foul.
And it's starting to rain.
You want the Denver Bears, you get Denver Bears information.
You know who their current manager is?
No idea.
Former Cardinal. Oberfeld.
Ken Oberfeld, huh?
Yeah.
That's not Ken right there.
No.
Some of the faces of the Denver Bears. There you go. It's a light rain here at the ballpark. The 3-2. Instead of check on the runner is Turris over at first.
Funny thing is you know, Denver drew over 1 million fans as a minor league town. And there were times where baseball said, oh, they'd never draw a big league because of the Rockies. And in that first year, 4.5 million.
And that's pulled foul.
Just a light mist, huh?
Well, it's starting to pick up a little bit.
The wind a little bit more. Well, it does snow here in June.
We've been snowed out a couple of times here.
That's right.
3-2 pitch to Barton. A drive into left down the line, and this ball is foul. This is turning into a long at bat right here.
Bat last night was a 10-pitch at bat before he got a 2-run double.
A key at bat in the game. Happy birthday to Willie Mays, the Say Hey Kid. Want to guess how old he is?
Willie's going to be 74,
78, 78. Willie Mays, 660 home runs. Doing that in San Francisco for the most part. How many would he have had if he played somewhere else?
850.
Probably right.
And the candlestick was not enclosed, and so just sometimes it took a candle to hit it out of there at night. Of course, they played a lot of day games. When I first came in the league, they only played Tuesday and Friday night games in San Francisco. The other games were during the day.
We got to the ballpark and temperatures were nice. It was comfortable. But things can switch pretty quickly here in Denver. It's got cold, windy, chilly, and the rain has started to fall.
And this game is
a strikeout and a throw him out. Double play. Ludwick, or rather Barton, strikes out Turris, thrown out at second. Midway through 6, Cardinals lead it 5-2. Cardinal Baseball on FSM Midwest is brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico dependability. By your local St. Louis Jeep dealers. And by Jack in the Box, we don't make it until you order it. It's a live shot just down the street, Union Station, near the ballpark here in Denver, Colorado. The rain continues to fall. You couldn't really tell it in that shot, but certainly you can now. The rain falling here at the ballpark. And the first pitch by Looper is taken for a strike on the outside corner. Here's a guy that in Looper that is highly motivated, and you see that Quintanilla is a member of the College World Series champions of the Texas Longhorns. They would win in 02 and then 05, but Looper highly motivated, Al. He's a free agent to be.
Free agent to be. He's in a rotation. He's pitching extremely well. Getting run support. It's a good thing, huh?
It is. Had a chance to visit with Omar's head coach over the weekend at Texas, legendary Augie Garrido.
See, I knew Augie when he was at Cal State Fullerton.
And he was also a player at Fresno State.
Also went to, from Cal State, he went to Illinois. And I asked him at that time, I said, of all the players you had that got to the big leagues, who were you most surprised about? He said, by far, Greg Matthews.
Really? Here's a ground ball that's hit to second. The Cardinals drafted Kyle Russell, you might remember, out of Texas a year ago. Went down to the final hour, and he did not sign with the Cardinals. He had 28 home runs.
That's a big power hitter, right?
Well, he had big power hitter numbers. He's not a big guy. He's compact. He's not, you look at him and say, boy, he could put on 30 more pounds. But he hit 28 home runs for Texas, did not sign, led the nation in home runs, and he decided not to sign. He's come back for another year, and his numbers are way down and got off to a real slow start. And I've been doing a little Big 12 baseball here the last few weekends, and it's amazing to see.
So he's a senior, so he uses all of his negotiating and bargaining power.
Right, and you see, Al, some of the players that have turned down the chance to play professional baseball because they think they're going to come back and have a better year. Well, the expectations are, huge on those players and on their shoulders, and they can't put together the kind of year that they just had.
And, the one thing, it's like,
you could really cost yourself.
Well, if you're going to make money, you make it at the big leagues. But so when you have a young player that comes out of high school, really, if he has unless he's being offered 7-figure stuff, go to college.
Here's a ground ball and a diving stop by Turris. Gets up and not in time. As Holiday just beat it out. Reminiscent of the play last night in the 9th inning by Cesar Turris.
Turris made a phenomenal play last night on a much harder hit ball, and that's why he got the out at first base. But here, this ball was hit pretty well. Dives, he's got to scramble to his feet. He had a little trouble getting up, and then you see the off-balance throw, and that was probably the difference, but still a great effort.
Here's a high fly ball lifted out to left. Ludwick near the line, fair territory, makes the catch with 2 hands. You like to see that.
Oh yeah, looking up into those raindrops and kind of stumbling like chalk lines. Sometimes at times will trip you too.
It's happened.
Yeah, blade of grass here or there, chalk lines.
White Sox pitcher Gavin Floyd, by the way, has lost a no-hitter with 1 out in the 9th. And you'll see that coming up on the postgame show. Max Linewand, our fine producer back in St. Louis, informs us he lost that no-hitter in the 9th, and you'll see the highlights coming up on the postgame show.
He's also lost a shutout.
In the air to deep right. Barton is going back. He makes the catch near the wall. Atkins flies to deep right field. And the catch made by Barton sends us to the 7th. Kennedy, Pujols, Ludwick coming up. Nice play by Brian Barton. Well, before Thursday's day game, tune in to Spotlight, Hometown Redbirds. And we'll look at 4 players in the Cardinals organization who grew up in Cardinal Nation as fans. And the show will take them on a journey back. Redbirds as professionals. It's Spotlight, Hometown Redbirds. It debuts Thursday at 12:30 right here on FSM Midwest. This is our Hyundai long drive inning. And it's Kennedy, Pujols, and Ludwick.
We'll be doing against Manny Corpus.
Corpus, the former closer. Bill Canny, by the way, is tonight's merchandise winner. The Hyundai long drive inning sweepstakes. If the Cardinals hit a home run, Bill Canny qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. To register, visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer.
Corpus, another guy, has more walks than strikeouts this year.
5-2 Cardinals. Get the feeling the Cardinals need some more insurance, even though they're up by 3.
Yeah, you kind of get that idea. See the former closer with a very high ERA. His ERA was 9.45 in save opportunities. It was in 7 games with no save chances, but he get ground balls. They really figured they had something. They really weren't worried about him at all, and then he just had a hard time dealing with the pressures of closing.
Well, we were talking about young players in college baseball for the 2nd consecutive year. There's a diving play and a stop made by Tom Helton. It'll be the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. I should say the Rays. Take away that D word. They've got the 1st overall pick. By the way, the Champions Club is the new spot to be. At the ballpark in St. Louis, upscale buffet, all-inclusive bars, over 40 flat screens. And again, Al and I will be there when Tampa Bay is in town on that Sunday afternoon with some former Cardinal greats. So we hope you take advantage of that and log on at stlcardinals.com to find out more. But last year, the Rays had the top pick, and they got David Price, left-hander out of Vanderbilt. And they are unsure as to what direction they want to go in with the #1 pick again this season. There is no clear-cut #1 apparently in the upcoming draft. Cardinals, by the way, might want to take a look at Chris Long's brother, Howie Long's son. He's apparently a 1st-round pick.
A pitcher, right?
That's right. I think he's a left-hander.
I think you are correct.
Apparently he throws in the mid-90s. So you could have a couple of Longs in St. Louis.
Well, long necks.
What? You went from, well, I know what a long neck is, but you went from Chris Long to a long neck. I mean, I know we have our Bud Sports crew.
Oh, I just figured they would, give me a standing ovation in the truck for that one.
You haven't seen a shot switch from Albert Pujols. I mean, they're on their feet. Wow, way to go. From Chris Long to long necks. I thought Larry Lubers had a long neck too. Good old Larry.
How do you judge high school and college pitching? Because they're all got high ERAs. You're throwing against aluminum bats. It's hard enough to judge a hitter to whether he can make the conversion to the wooden bat.
No doubt. And guys in the college ranks, they don't pitch inside because of it.
Can't break an aluminum bat.
Exactly.
So, you become breaking ball pitchers. You don't have the art of pitching inside. Remember Paul Ellis?
Yeah.
He led the NCAA in home runs for UCLA. And the first time I saw a 30-second video of him playing at Springfield, Illinois. I said, he has no bat speed. He can't run a lick. Couldn't throw. And he was a 3rd-round draft pick and a total bust. But he couldn't hit without the aluminum bat.
1-2 pitch to Pujols. And a swing and a miss. He strikes out. A rare 2-strikeout night for Albert Pujols. Let's go pitch by pitch. Corpus and Albert Pujols, brought to you by Chevrolet.
And slings the ball up there. You know, he has that free and loosened arm. He keeps the ball to. He gets a lot of ground balls. You can see the way he pitches. And just keeps on working down in the zone, and finally got Albert to swing. Right-handed batters coming in. We're hitting 371 against Corpus. But he's going to figure it out.
Here's Ludwick. He's had a nice night. 2 outs, on base 3 times. He has doubled. RBI single in the first, and a walk and a run scored back in the third. 5-2 St. Louis. Cardinals half of the 7th. Ludwick pops it foul. How about this, Al? Albert Pujols, 53% of the pitches going into play tonight that he has seen at the plate have been balls. I mean, no one is looking to pitch to Albert Pujols. That's the highest among anybody in the major leagues.
Well, he leads the major leagues with his 34 walks. 10 of those have been intentional passes. And with 2 strikeouts tonight, now he's ran that total up to 12.
And a ball taken low by Ludwick. One of the things, though, that stands out when you talk about Pujols is his discipline. Not a lot of protection around him, so, and he has admitted at times he gets impatient, frustrated, but yet he does not expand his zone. More times than not, he doesn't. Sign of a great hitter. Gets his pitch and he drives it. 3-1.
And what is helpful is, like tonight, even though he did get a double and extended his reaching base, you know, he's got the supporting cast that he doesn't have to do too much, you know, because the other guys have banged out 10 hits, scored 5 runs.
Doesn't have to shoulder the load tonight.
Ludwick.
3-1, and another base hit for Ryan Ludwick. On base 4 times tonight. 2 singles, a double, and now he is on base for the 4th time. We'll go along with a walk as well.
Drove in the first run of the game back in the first inning as he scored Albert. But watch him go down and get this pitch. I always thought he was a low ball hitter, and he proves it right there.
I was talking to Ludwick today about his at bat last night, which proved to be a base hit RBI, and he saw a slider, and you're right. You know, it was another pitch that was down low, and he went and got it. His gloss grounds to Corpus, and the Cardinals have stranded 6. Time to stretch here at Coors Field in Denver, Colorado. 5-2 St. Louis. Cardinals with a lead of 5-2. Bottom of 7 rolls in here on FSN Midwest. Pop, Iannetta, Barmes. First pitch, left center. Ankiel on the move. I think I can recall maybe 2, possibly 3 times he's taken a bad jump on a ball. He gets pretty good jumps out there.
And see, that is the perfect, you know, line drive that goes left or right to where he gets a good jump and he can judge, you know, the height of it. That's why I think he's much better playing center field than we saw him last year in right.
No walks for Looper tonight. There's pitch number 83, so his pitch count is low with 1 out here in the 7th. Here's Iannetta, who touched up Looper for a home run his last time up. We haven't talked about that left leg. 1 ball, 1 strike, which apparently is not a problem.
No, he said it wasn't. May have just cramped up slightly.
Looper has kind of reinvented himself. A guy that used to throw in the high 90s, and now he has sacrificed velocity for movement, sinker, and location.
And the sinker has been very effective. He's got the slider. He's got you know, split finger. Yeah, but look at what Dave Duncan saw. Is look at big and he's big, he's strong, and he's got multiple pitches. So that's what he could envision, that he could develop into a starting pitcher. And Looper embraced it, and now he really likes it.
2-2 pitch. Pitch that's up and pulled foul. The other thing I love about this staff, they work quickly too.
Yeah, and some of his pitches starting to get up this inning. That's a sign where you start getting a little bit tired. But with this cool air here, it's going to invigorate you. And also, you ever gone skiing up here?
Oh yeah.
And you know how this altitude, you get a little winded.
Popped up. Looper directing traffic, and it's going to be Glaus. Let's take a look at our Hardy's hot pitch of the game. And this is Looper to Iannetta.
This is a major league pop-up, and see, he got him uppercutting. He hit that ball a ton in the air. The only thing he knew is he didn't want any part of it. He was glad that
he could
Glaus had a beat on it.
But I'm getting out of the way, he says. Well, that's what I love to see, because if Aaron Miles, and we can pan to the right, you may see that he is with the rest of the staff. Oh yeah, Aaron Miles with Loge and Pinheiro and Wellemeyer.
So because he made 2 appearances last year on the mound, he's a pitcher?
Yes.
Well, I had as much fun with those outings. Spezio had a couple of them, but I hope we don't have to see it.
The ground ball out over to third, and we move to the 8th. Looper is through 7. And the Cardinals have a lead of 5-2 here in game number 2. Ankiel, Molina, Looper coming up. Friday night, get a look around the major leagues. It's 5-2 Cardinals over Colorado. It's the baseball report, covering every team all season long. Highlights, interviews, and analysis you don't get anywhere else. It's the baseball report. We'll be in Milwaukee. Coverage begins at 5:30. Our hour-long pregame show at 6, and then the play-by-play coming up at 7. Here's Rick Ankiel against Corpus. Homer closer. Started the season for the Rockies. 5-2 Cardinals here in the 8th. Some finals already in the National League. Pittsburgh over San Francisco 12-6. Atlanta beats San Diego 5-3. Florida blanks Milwaukee 3-0. And the Cubs, as Al told you, beat Cincinnati by the score. 3-0. Zambrano with the win in that game. And for those of you that didn't see that article in USA Today, there was some talk about Ken Griffey Jr. maybe being traded from Cincinnati. And one of the places that he talked about was finishing up his career with the team that he started with, the Seattle Mariners. Griffey is not lobbying for a trade, and Walt Jocketty was asked about it before the game tonight. He said, we haven't approached him, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't do it.
Well, he has a $16 million option
and a $4 million buyout too. He's a player with 10 years of experience in the majors and 5 with the same team, so he has the final say. 10-5. One and 2 the count on Rick Ankiel. Colorado not the only team that has had problems with their closer. Ned Yost was saying prior to their game tonight, their loss, that they are going to stick with Eric Gagne, despite the fact he's off to a real rough start.
That's what general manager Craig Melvin was quoted yesterday of saying that.
Two pitch to Rick Ankiel. And Ankiel drives it into deep right field, and this ball is gone. On the road, and Ankiel hits a home run. Number 6 for Rick. His second base hit of the night extends the lead to 6-2.
Vast majority of his career home runs have been at Busch Stadium. 6 home run here this season, and that to me is real important to pile on and give a little more insurance for Looper. Look at him sling that ball down there, and it's going to stay down, but look at Rick go down and get it and lifts it into the second deck.
He's had quite a night. A couple of base hits and the defensive play of the game out in center field. Molina, base hit into right. His first base hit. 3 hits last night, his 4th in this series. For those of you that are just tuning in, we did this earlier, but Rick Ankiel with, truly, Al, one of the great throws this season from any of the games we've seen so far. Molina had one on Sunday night from behind home plate, but this one was eye-popping as well. Ankiel throwing out Willie Taveras, trying to tag up from second to third.
And that's what made it the exceptional effort, because Taveras, a guy with phenomenal speed, was on at second base trying to tag up. Let's take a look at it. Rears back and just fires a strike. Troy Glaus trying to deke Taveras, and the throw right there is sliding right into the tub, and Taveras couldn't believe it.
Here's Looper, who leads the National League in sacrifices with 4.
I've seen better throws from right fielders.
Clemente, even a Mark Whitten, if you want to talk about the Cardinals. Larry Walker had a cannon.
Oh yeah, Larry had an exceptional arm.
Who was the best arm that you saw, you think?
Well, I saw Clemente, and I mean there was a lot of guys that had good arms.
Off of Corpus's glove, and they're still going to turn 2. Concentration out there from the second baseman of the Rockies. That's a nice play. That's 1, 4, 6, 3 in the double play.
It's 3 double plays turned by the Rockies. The Cardinals have turned 2.
Upcoming schedule for St. Louis. These are the games on FSN Midwest. Wednesday, Thursday, right here on FSN. Friday night as well, and then the Monday game will be on FSN in Milwaukee, and then we're back home. Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay come to town, and then we head out west for San Diego and the Dodgers.
Yeah, who I'm looking forward to seeing that weekend against Tampa Bay, George Hendrick.
That's right, Silent George.
Silent George is first base coach for the Rays. Turris, another multi-hit game. Joe McGrain, television broadcaster. Wayne Statz, originally from Alton, Illinois, is the play-by-play man.
Base hit for Turris, his second hit, and here's Brian Barton.
And a lot of young talent, right?
Oh man. How about Kazmir, who led the American League in strikeouts last year? Want to win the ticket game? Go to StubHub.com. It's fast and easy. StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the Cardinals. Lagoria is another player that we're going to see, their third baseman. 0-1 pitch to Barton. At some point, with all these high draft picks, it's got to come together for Tampa Bay. Agreed? I mean, at some point, it's got to happen.
Yeah. Joe Madden, their manager, you know, I was impressed with him when I first met him on Mike Scioscia's California Angels staff. Now, what are they called today?
Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, and also it's the Tampa Bay
Rays.
No D-Word.
Yeah,
just Rays.
No. I'm sure that guy, you know, probably could do a dissertation.
And that guy is Jim Hayes.
That guy.
That's what you're calling Jim Hayes now. That guy.
Yeah, he's stooped to that level.
I thought Brent was on your bad side, but apparently it's Jim again. Swing and a miss by Barton, and he strikes out. Home run by Ankiel extends the lead. Let's take a look at our game recap here on FSN Midwest, and our game recaps are brought to you by Jack in the Box. The Cardinals with a 6-2 lead here in the bottom of the 8th. Ryan Ludwick, a big night for St. Louis. The offense, a big night. The Cardinals with 14 hits. A couple even from the pitcher, Braden Looper. Highlighted by the home run from Rick Ankiel, just the 24th this season for St. Louis. And that pitch is taken low and in. Jamie Quirk on the staff for Clint Hurdle, Royals' #1 pick back in 1972. He was 18th overall. And you might remember he spent a season with St. Louis back in 1983. He had a heck of a playing career, though, almost 20 years.
Well, Whitey Herzog extended that playing career when he told him, you know, you could prolong your career by becoming a catcher.
Grounder is Turris to his left.
He make you an emergency catcher type guy. He stuck around, became an outstanding pinch hitter. He was quite a high school quarterback. Had over 100 collegiate offers. Probably was headed to Notre Dame before signing that contract. And good guy. One of George Brett's closest friends, also very close with Clint Hurdle.
Here's a pitch and a strike to the leadoff man, Taveras. Jamie Quirk has a son that is playing still and apparently a pretty good player. A chance to make it to the big leagues, and this is Ludwick calling for it. Calls off Turris.
How good has Looper been?
Well, here's the question, and I'm not sure what the pitch count is. It's roughly around 90, and Schumacher is in right field, but 97 for Looper. If he gets a quick out here, do you extend Braden Looper to the ninth?
Of course you do. It's not a save situation.
I don't know if it's that easy. This is Coors Field, you know. I mean, there's not many complete games at this ballpark.
You know, put humidifiers.
So that's the reason that Looper's still in this game.
That's because he's pitched very effectively.
Very good tonight, and I think if you look, and we'll talk to him tomorrow about it, but you go back to the first inning, and I don't know about you, but he didn't seem overly comfortable.
No, he was, everything was elevated. Taveras got a base hit. Quintanilla got a base hit. And he got a pop-up of Holiday, and then the double play we showed you where the fly ball out to center off the bat of Todd Helton, and he threw out Taveras trying to go to third. That was really helpful. Second inning came out and he looked much smoother.
1-2 pitch. Quintanilla lines it into left center field, extra bases. This will roll all the way to the wall. Ankiel comes up firing again. On its way to third. He got him again. Oh, what a play from Rick Ankiel. All the way from the track to third. The second time he has done it tonight. An unbelievable throw from Rick Ankiel. Unbelievable. Wow, what a play.
That
Gloss says, take this ball.
That was better than the first one because he did it from the track.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yes. 6-2 Cardinals, top of the ninth. Have you seen anything like it? I mean, you've probably seen some great arms, but in one game, these throws from center field, and I know that Jim Edmonds was an unbelievable player in center for the Cardinals as Ryan Spire takes over, but I'll tell you what, we didn't see anything like this.
To me, that was a much better and more difficult throw for Rick.
Here's a ground ball and taken at second base. Cardinals baseball, enjoy this on FSN is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drink and Bush Light. By Chevrolet, see for yourself, shop and compare at STLChevy.com. And by Sonic, it's not just good, it's Sonic good. Wow.
Remember, he was playing over in the right center, so he had a long run. And that is the equally deepest part of the field out there. In the left center, takes the carom, fires a strike to Troy Gloss, and he applies that tag.
You see, Gloss kept the ball and handed it to Ankiel as he went into the dugout. What do you think he's thinking? And that's a foul ball. That's twice he has gone to third with those throws.
And it was really worth it just to see the reaction of the Cardinal bench.
They're still talking about it.
Larry Walker's shaking his head. He used to talk that way about me. Larry's going, I can pitch.
Wow. 0-2 the count on Pujols, and Albert has struck out twice tonight. 6-2 St. Louis. The talk after this game will be about Rick Ankiel. He is also, by the way, homered tonight. Forget about the home run. How about these throws from Rick Ankiel?
His rears back and just sends it right there.
Look at the reaction on the bench.
That's what I'm saying. It was priceless. Look at Duncan. You saw all these guys. Look at Larry Walker's just, he's enjoying every second of it.
He had a couple of throws from left field. I remember one last year at Wrigley. Remember the ball that hit off the top of his head? Hit off the top of his head, and he made a terrific throw into third. There was also a play in which he was at right field and gunned it into second base a couple of times. But I don't remember these throws from center. And Looper's reaction, just shaking his head in disbelief. Wow.
Well, he's also very appreciative and thankful. Albert out there, everybody's getting the high fives, and they're loving it. And they're helping you win ball games. This team is having a lot of fun.
They sure are. Chance to go to 10 games above 500 with a win tonight and surprising the baseball world.
They're not taking anything for granted. They're just going out there and challenging themselves to play the game the right way.
In the ninth, it'll be Holiday, Helton, and Atkins.
Here Ludwick's going to get his 4th hit and be on base 5 times.
How about that?
Nobody's going to talk about it.
Nice prediction, partner. He's on his way to second base.
It's his 2nd double. He has 2 singles. He has an RBI, a run scored when he walked, and nobody's going to even remember.
5 times on base and 4 hits, 2 doubles. Run scored and an RBI for Ludwick.
And I guess Troy Glass is going to say, okay, we want an encore.
Well, he's been on the receiving end of these throws, and give him a little credit.
Exactly right.
For deking the runner.
He's deking the runner twice. Neither one of them slowed up or anything like that, and he's put down the snap tag. But Troy's going to say, I'm going to make sure I can do something here so we can get a little encore as Rick's on deck.
2 outs and a runner at second base, and a fastball misses. Loss with a single back in the 3rd. He struck out and grounded out a couple of times. The first throw was in the 1st as Tavares was trying to tag up from 2nd to 3rd, and Ankiel threw him out. And then the double by Quintanilla trying to extend it to 3rd. Ankiel on the fly from the wall. I mean, how many times have you seen a center fielder at this ballpark? That is 415 in center field. He was just to the left of that. I guarantee you didn't see that with Juan Pierre.
No.
That's hit out of play. Or Tavares, or hardly any center fielder that's played here.
Juan may have had a better chance of running it back in.
You're right.
Love to see him come up with a couple guys on.
Oh man,
it's your night. It's your night.
You got it. 2-1 pitch to Gloss, blowing outside. 3-1. Now this series for the Cardinals, the play by Pujols last night, and then the 2 throws from Rick Ankiel tonight. A little bit of everything. And we haven't even talked about the fact that nobody is getting loose in the Cardinal bullpen. So it's Looper's 9th inning coming up, and here is Rick Ankiel.
And some of the Cardinal fans are standing up applauding the night for Rick.
I think even some of the Rocky fans are as well.
Absolutely.
2 outs, runners at 1st and 2nd. And for those of us that were around Rick Ankiel when the meltdown happened, I mean, you just love to see a night like this, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And just, what he has persevered, he's already exceeded anything I thought he would be able to do.
0-1 pitch to Ankiel. He has an infield hit. He's also hit a home run tonight.
He got the game-winning RBI last night. He leads the major leagues in game-winning RBIs. He's had an all-around game tonight.
First and second. 1 ball, 1 strike. The 1-1 pitch to Rick Ankiel. Here it comes. Big cut. Fouled out of play. 1-2. Well, he's got the 2 outfield assists. 1 out 2 home runs. I'm sure St. Louis tonight is buzzing over Rick Ankiel and what they've seen on FSN Midwest.
I'm sure they're buzzing about what Ludwick's done, what this Cardinal team has done. And don't forget Looper's outing. Once again, you keep on coming up with team victories. Not relying on Albert Pujols, not relying on one guy or this guy. Just methodically getting the job done.
Well, Troy Gloss has played with some pretty good center fielders. And again, I'll say it, I wonder what's going through his mind on these throws. Give him credit for deking the runner. But wow, what a just amazing display of arm strength from Rick Ankiel in center field.
And when we say deking the runner, those runners are not pulling up because they're thinking there's not a play. He's trying to sell it that Rick is not throwing the ball there, but they're all running hard. He's just making exceptional throws.
Ankiel, a hard hit ball to first. Helton will flick to his pitcher, and we head to the bottom half of the 9th. The Cardinals have stranded 9. Ankiel, the story of this game. Part of the order for the Rockies coming up.
6-2, Cardinals lead it. We go to the bottom of the 9th in Denver. Don't forget, coming up after the game on the post-game edition of U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, we'll have Tony La Russa's post-game comments. I'll go all access inside the Cardinals clubhouse for a player reaction. And Rick Horton and Pat Paris will have all the analysis. That's coming up. For now, we go back to Dan and Al.
All right, thank you, Jim. And Looper trying to pick up a complete game tonight and a win. We are in the bottom of the 9th. Holiday, Helton, and Atkins. He does it. It's the heart of the lineup of the Rockies. 33 complete games in this ballpark, and 9, that's it, by opposing pitchers, the last by Chris Capuano. 2 balls, no strikes. They'll keep a watchful eye, I'm sure, on Looper as there is activity in the bullpen. It might be one of those situations where if one man gets on, that could be it.
Ryan Franklin is warming up. And Tony, the last thing he wants with the pitch count at 103 is to go out there and walk the first man. There you see Ryan Franklin.
The 2-0 pitch. Down the left field line. Ludwick giving chase and makes the play on the run.
How about that?
Great play by Ludwick on the run near that side wall. That helps out Looper on a 2-0 pitch, and he picks up the out.
So 4 for 4, on base 5 times with a walk.
I would think he's going to be in the lineup tomorrow.
Well, with another lefty, Jeff Francis out there.
What else does he have to do? Strike 2, Todd Helton.
Looked like it still stayed fair, right?
Right on the line. The 0-1 pitch. Make it 0-2.
That's all Looper needed, trying to get him dialed back in.
0-2 pitch on its way. Helton looks at a ball outside. The first inning was back-to-back singles from Taveras and Quintanilla. And a pop out by Holiday. And then that was the double play, the first of the 2 throws from Rick Ankiel, and it just seemed to settle Looper, down in this game. After that, he was a different pitcher.
See his next 2 outs. He'll drop his ERA below 350. And win his 5th game. And the Cardinals 22nd.
Foul ball. Last time out, 6 innings, 7 hits for Looper. The previous start was 7 innings and only 2 hits. That was the Friday night game in which Isringhausen blew a save, and the Cardinals eventually lost 3-2. The 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Helton tonight is 0 for 3. Pitch count of 110 for Looper.
See, good ratio.
2-2 pitch. Line drive, left center field, and Ankiel won't get it. One out base hit. Well, who is going to be our Budweiser player of the game? You got some choices here.
You really do.
But we're going to go with Rick Ankiel. A home run. Ankiel picking up his 6th home run. But this is the story. The throws from center.
It's in the 1st inning. Here he goes, Quintanilla, and nails him. So 2 of them he nails at 3rd base. He also had a single on top of that.
How about the reaction of the dugout and the bench? One of the best parts of that shot we just had.
Absolutely. I mean, they were thrilled to death. I mean, and it's fun to watch him throw.
The 0-1. And remember this, way back when it was Mr. Duncan looking at Braden Looper, and he picked up something.
Well, he was kind of, spinning off. He's standing a little too erect and not using his lower half and tucking. So the rotation, he didn't like that front shoulder, and that keeps the ball high. In the 1st inning, the ball was up there a little bit.
That's a base hit into center, 1st and 2nd with 1 out.
This game is not over yet.
And that might be it for Looper. Let's see.
Tried to give it all, and you have to commend him. Miles is going in as part of the double switch.
So Looper will go 8 1/3 tonight. You see Tony go to the home plate umpire. Double switch upcoming. Franklin coming in. Cardinals bullpen has been very good so far this year. So Miles will check in for Kennedy. Franklin coming in for Looper. Great outing. 6-2 with 1 out here in the 9th. The Cardinals bullpen this season has been outstanding. 31 holds, and 11 of those coming from Ryan Franklin. 8 1/3 for Braden Looper. 10 hits, 2 runs. Those were earned. No walks. That's the key in that line, and he struck out 1.
Yeah, that was the key. No walks allowed him to get to the end of the 9th. He got the 1st out, but bring in Franklin. You say he leads the major leagues with those 11 holds. This is a save situation. So see if he can get the final 2 outs, pick up his 1st save of the year.
Brad Hoff will be the hitter with 2 runners on.
And it's a good day, because you give Izzy a night off. Pick up this victory, give Izzy a night off, then you really accomplish something.
Izzy pitched on Sunday night and again last night, and picking up a save. First pitch in there for a strike to Hoff. He is 0 for 3. He's fly to center, grounded out to 1st, and grounded out to 2nd. Anxious moments right now for Looper. 6-2 Cardinals. Post-game show is coming up. Up and in, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals bullpen a year ago, they were 58-3 with leading after 6 and a 30-12 record. That was best in the National League.
This year they just want to pick up the holds and saves and let the starters have the wins.
A strike, a high strike, and that's strike number 2.
Remember, Hopp has 3 home runs, 2 of which have come against the Cardinals. Hit his 3rd last night. Franklin initially having a little trouble getting the ball down.
Cardinals have turned 2 double plays tonight. 1-2 the count.
can do but sit back and hope your teammates help you out.
Or stand because you're so anxious. Last pitch was pretty close. Taken for a ball. 2-2 the count. Fouled away. A lot of pitches, Al, as you noted, are up for here from Franklin.
That'll be fine because now he'll throw the splitter at the bottom of the zone and change the eye level. Need him to roll over on it, either strike him out or get the double play.
And a swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Through the fastball.
And out away from victory number 22 for the Cardinals and victory number 5 for Looper.
Fastball right by him. Looper has to love that.
Up to Iannetta. He is homered. That was back in the 5th. 1 for 3.
He's got very good power.
2 outs, 2 on.
Still a developing hitter, Iannetta.
Would Jim Hayes be able to get Rick Ankiel on the postgame show? Is that his target? Yeah. 2 nights in a row, possibly. Or an out away. We'll have to see. Postgame show coming up here on FSN Midwest. Here from Tony La Russa and the players. The count. Next from Franklin, way outside.
Almost got by Molina.
Pitch. A little rough on the psyche of Braden Looper. 2-1 pitch. Well hit. Opposite field. Schumacher is back. Leaps. It's off the wall. Backing up Ankiel. He'll fire it back in. 2 runs will score. 6-4. Tying run now comes to the plate.
Said Iannetta had some power. He was a semifinalist of Dick Hauser Trophy, the College Player of the Year. It also was a Johnny Bench Award for the top catcher in collegiate. And Schumacher going back on that just beyond his reach. This is Franklin's game. Nobody else warming up. Fuentes is warming up for the Rockies. If they to tie it up.
Barmes with 2 home runs this season. A couple of base hits tonight. He's got a double, a run scored, and a single back in the 5th. He represents the tying run at the plate.
Iannetta had a career high 3 hits last night. Got 3 RBIs tonight.
Ripped. Fair. Into the corner it goes. Tying run at second base. A base hit could tie it up. Third hit for Barmes.
Didn't take long as that ball is elevated also and rifled into left field. You got a ball game right here.
Well, the potential winning run is at the plate.
Jeff Baker.
And again, you're talking about it, Al, but everything has been up from Franklin. Jeff Baker
led the Rocks in pinch hits last season with 9. He's hitless in 5 pinch hit appearances this season, and he had a vicious swing at that first one.
Sure did. Tying run, Parisi at second base, 6-5, St. Louis. 2 outs, bottom of the 9th. The next to Baker. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fans on both sides on their feet for St. Louis and the Rockies. Strike 2. If you're Franklin, what's the pitch choice here?
Well, something to keep down and away. You know, he's got that slider that is very effective. He's got a splitter, and they're going to talk about it right now. I think it's got to be his slider to a right-handed batter.
A lot of longevity with the coaches and managers here in Colorado. Clint Hurdle, George Karl, Shanahan for the Broncos, even Joel Quenneville, the former Blues coach. And Clint Hurdle's been around since 2002. He's seen a lot of long nights this ballpark. A lot of comebacks too.
Well, we talked about it earlier that it seemed like the Cardinals just needed to add on. They got the extra run. With the difference in this ball game, the home run by Ankiel, will it be enough?
Could be another game-winning RBI. The 1-2 pitch. Let's hope it's not, though, because you have to go back previous to that Ankiel home run. If they tie it up, all bets are off.
I would just be very happy to have Ludwick have the game-winning RBI back in the first inning.
There's a single after the double by Pujols. Ludwick on base 5 times. One of the stories tonight, along with Ankiel, and the pitching of Looper. The 2-2. Got inside just enough.
Jamby fought it off.
Six-5 Cardinals, 2 outs, 2-2 the count.
27 hits in this game, 15 by the Cardinals, 12 by the Rockies, and we're going down with the final, possibly the final pitch of the game.
Outfield is straight away. Here it comes. In the air to center. Fittingly, Ankiel puts it away.
Final pitch of the game.
You got it. And the Cardinals hold on for the victory. 6-5 our final tonight. Rick Ankiel, a big night with the home run. The outfield assists. 15 hits for St. Louis. The Cardinals win it 6-5. Gut-wrenching at the end, but the Cardinals